now on match point.
And we were just talking in the break, like that seems to be the speciality of BLG. Just every single member can step up when it counts, and all you need is one of them to make that difference. Whereas on Lion side, still kind of waiting for that magic moment to happen. I think Inspired has had a great series thus far, like keeping control in the early stage. His team fighting has been spectacular, but he needs to really try and find that special sauce here coming into this to see if he can break the back of BLG.
All right, let's see how our draft is going to look. BLG banning out the Varus and the Rumble. Meanwhile, over on the other side, it's Vayne, TF, and Poppy banned out by Lion.
Interesting. Okay. So very much top lane focus. So maybe saying once again, hey, look, we're just going to try and take something that's a tank top side like the Zaahen for Dhokla. Not give anything in the early stages across that Bin can try and answer with, especially with the Rumble banned by Bin here as well. That I imagine would be the focus here.
All right, what do we got? Okay, the Akali going to be kept away from Saint. As let's see what we end up getting here. Lion wanting first pick this time. They have taken last pick in both of the previous matches. This time around, they want to have their choice.
And I think like they have done well with this, but when you're 2 games deep and it hasn't quite worked out, look, let's try something a little bit different, right? See if it's going to work. And the Nocturne for Inspired, definitely something that can be a playmaker here.
And this would explain why the bans in this first phase are also different, because remember, the Nocturne has been banned out in both of the previous games. Now that they have the first pick, they want to prioritize it for themselves. Obviously, you don't have the Knock Wave combo with the Orianna, since that's now removed through Fearless, so we'll see what they want to combo with it. But also, Viper gets his Ezreal. This has been banned out so far in the first couple of games as well. And by the way, so has On's Bard. So if they can manage, yep, never mind. They're going to manage to lock it right there. Ezreal Bard for the bottom lane of BLG. That's some scary stuff.
That is definitely a comfort pick for BLG in that bottom lane. The push is there for them on the roams. The Temper Fates as well can try and slow down some of this pick potential from Lion with this Nocturne. We'll have to see how they pan this one out as we're still waiting. I imagine, the response to the bot lane will be the Nautilus. Try and grab that one early for Isles to ensure he's got that good matchup.
Yep, remember the Nautilus was banned out by BLG as responses to the potential Ashe and Seraphine bottom lane that they were running in the previous game. Not going to be banned out this time. So we have some strong engage options, particularly single target engage options for the Lion squad. Nautilus ulti plus Nocturne ulti. You can put somebody in a world of hurt with those, but what else do they want to pair with it?
Yeah, especially like looking at Knight in the mid lane, I imagine you want some sort of mobility here based on what you're seeing. Now with the Cassiopeia on the other side though, mobility may be at a premium when you look towards that mid lane pool, as the Renekton immediately taken here for Bin, knowing that they're going to be able to even ban away more champions and make Dhokla uncomfortable on that top lane if they need to. But honestly, with the Gnar, the TF, the Vayne, the Rumble gone, there's very few picks, including the MS, that are like left to go into that top lane. Varus gone as well.
Yep, 4 of the most standard top lane champions in Jace, Gnar, Cassante, and Mbessa, all already off the table just through Fearless, is going to do a lot. So I want to see how much BLG wants to pinch this top lane pool in the second half, or if they even care. Right now, they don't. It's going to be the Misfortune banned out. They don't want that being paired with the Nautilus for the powerful all-in potential. You hit a dredge line, you immediately drop the depth charge, bullet time over the top. They're trapped in a lot of that damage.
Kai'Sa probably the next one to go as well on BLG side. Good into the Ezreal, plus adding to that dive potential that you already have on the Lion side would make things very difficult for the likes of Knight and Viper. So I imagine that'll be the call. There's the LeBlanc gone though.
Okay.
Caps didn't look so good in this matchup.
And
then we kind of saw Zeka show him how it was done yesterday. So makes sense that the LeBlanc is respected.
We'll keep that one out of the way. Also worth noting that there is the potential to have the Cassiopeia flex to bottom lane. We have seen that before in this tournament, so I'm just going to put the little asterisk on that. You do expect to see it mid, but it could possibly be a swap. We'll see if BLG wants to respect that, or if they want to just keep focusing towards the bottom lane instead here with the bans. No, okay, they are going to look towards the top side, get rid of that Mundo that could be just a giant meatball that it's kind of hard for Renekton to appropriately punish enough to stop him from becoming the massive wall of hell.
But honestly, I think that may be the answer, is just put a bigger meatball in towards Dhokla, right? Like, look towards the Ornn, look towards the Zaahen, just say, cool, we've got engaged, we've got decent setup, and you're going to just lose gracefully. And I think Dhokla has been doing a good job of kind of doing just that. Like, he hasn't gotten a huge amount of attention towards that top side of the map, but it has opened up Inspired to really start trying to find some footholds in this game elsewhere.
Okay, final ban of the draft. It's the Wukong being kept away from Shun. Vi still up and available. Could be pretty standard stuff. I mean, honestly, when you're looking at BLG's composition that's been drafted so far, it's not really feeling like you're very far into Fearless at all. Like, these are all very popular picks locked in up until this point. They will go ahead and pick up the Vi for Shun, and that means they're going to be saving their last pick in the draft, this first game in this series where they've had last pick, for counter pick for Knight once they know for sure that Cassiopeia is going mid.
I prefer the Sivir option here if they want to go for it, or the Zaya. The spell shield going to do a lot of work. Jhin, unfortunately, like, you open up with the curtain call, Temper Fate bonks you on the head, and you're like, well, I guess I'm sitting here for the next couple of seconds doing absolutely nothing. So, yeah, I prefer the Sivir in this case. Even just in the matchup, you're getting decent wave clear and can follow up relatively well. Plus, like, the fact you can buy so much space with this on the hunt as you kite back with things like the Cassiopeia and that from this Renekton buy, I think get a lot of value in the fight.
I always like on the hunt more when you have champions that do not have mobility built into the kit, because the less mobility you have, inherently the more valuable move speed is. So yeah, Cassiopeia duo really nice on that one. And okay, we're not going to go with a Meteor Meatball. No. We are going to go with Zaahen in the top lane for Dhokla.
Yeah, Shiny Zinzao going to be going to the top lane, and I don't think this is the best of matchups though for the Zaahen. I think you can struggle because just the raw damage output from the Renekton in the early stages, the ability to try and trade effectively with the health bar always kind of favors the Renekton in the early trades. You do get online a lot later and can kind of outplay some of the dive potential here on BLG, but I think there's going to be some early focus here towards Dhokla to help him out.
And that last pick of the draft for BLG is the famous Knight Ahri, paired with the Vi in the jungle, one of Ahri's best friends in all of League of Legends. This is a scary mid-jungle combo, and these guys are clearly on the same wavelength. We remember the play in the previous game in the topside river where LYON lose track of how far they're splitting, and it's Shun and Knight immediately counter-punching for 2 kills. This Vi-Ahri combo is a recipe for success.
Can also nullify a lot of that Nocturne presence in a team fight as well, because now you jump in as Nocturne, Ezreal dashes away, Ahri dashes away, and then it's like, well, I'm on Renekton Vi, I guess, maybe the Bard. I don't know if this is the key targets, right? So I think this is where Inspired is going to have his work cut out. Will still be good when it comes towards the presence Nocturne can have on side lane pressure and push, which is a lot of what Knight and Bin will want to do as we get into the mid game.
Right.
Keep that in check, have the Nocturne play towards sides, but it's still not going to be wonderful when he gets towards fights. I think that's where he might struggle.
Yeah, we talked about back in game number 1 how BLG is a team that feels very comfortable playing in 1-3-1s. They know that their solo laners are incredibly skilled. They trust them to handle those individual assignments. Maybe Nocturne is how you try to counter that. Maybe that's what gets it done, because LYON has been close so far in this series. They've given BLG a fight, but it's BLG both times so far triumphant.
It's also very strong in these early levels if you want to look for the potential dueling. Especially as you look towards Vi on her camps. If Inspired is able to get in the face of Shun, I think that should give him that advantage. And already, I think that's the game plan here from LYON, right? Inspired will be spotted thanks to that ward, but they want to split the map. Shun immediately booking it to the other side of the jungle will also be spotted.
Yep, he wants to make sure that he is not going to end up chickenless, so he will steal away that camp from LYON as his is stolen away. Of course, Inspired is the first to the camp, so he will have first move towards the lanes. Does tag Knight with a Dustbringer, but now it's Inspired and Saint coming to collapse on Shun, who's still trying to clear out these last chickens. Does hit his level 2. Saint is going to steal away one of the tiny ones. Shun's still trying to make his escape here as Inspired and Saint both collapsing. Inspired wanting to get in the way of the Vault Breaker, but he can't do it. Shun, nicely done to escape.
Okay, so one camp per one camp, and we kind of go back to even Stevens. So not too bad on either side, but you can kind of see already LYON. This, I imagine, is going to be the continued game plan, because Inspired can now clear through his top side, and actually with the push on bottom lane, potentially look for another invade with Isles having his support. So we'll have to see how BLG try and respond. At least Knight having push in the mid lane for the moment means he should have some support.
Down here in bottom lane, the 2v2 continues with priority over the lane, currently possessed by Berserker and Isles. You talked about it during the draft, how Sivir is going to have that extra wave control, that extra shove potential up against something like the Ezreal, which could open up opportunities for Isles to roam. I think that Isles' game on Pike in game number 2 was not what LYON would have wanted, so hopefully we'll have more success here on the Nautilus as Knight is forced to flash over the red buff wall to safety, as just what I'm saying, LYON's support unlocked to make the rotation towards mid.
This is what I was talking about, right? Because you end up with this trade for Shun where he goes in to try and invade. They now have full information on where Shun is going to be, so it's almost like a fake coming through from Saint and Isles, where they're like, we are going to look for that potential invade, and Knight has to respect it because Inspired might be there with the pathing that they saw. So now LYON still in the position, honestly, with the Inspired having the quicker clear, where they could push this out and maybe look for something, but they should definitely be able to secure this bot lane crab for themselves.
All right, Bin's got Dhokla shoved in, just like you were talking about. The early lane, not going to be the most pleasant experience there for Zaahen up against Renekton. Of course, this champion has very powerful scaling later on with the ability to fill the blood well up, have that resurrection in the big fights, but Renekton, traditionally that dominant laner that will make that scaling difficult. Isles again, just kind of looking for any opportunity to interfere with BLG. He's got Inspired right behind him, is going to see that ward that got placed down over the wall by On. Tries to put a hit into that one, but will not be able to exterminate it in time. Shun and On trying to secure their buff here. Let's see if we, okay, the teleport coming out now, as it'll just be Viper making his way back down into the bottom lane. Cosmic Binding onto Inspired. LYON really, really wanting to control this jungle, this second chicken camp spawn for BLG. They bring 4 men to do it, and they will get it done. Yeah,
so the red buff, I believe, went to Inspired as well off the back of that. So they got 2 camps in the midst of it, and this is really well played by LYON. This is the value you can get from this Nocturne, and why it's banned away so consistently. So they spotted Shun moving into the enemy jungle, they cover that play, they then go right. The only thing Shun can do is move back into his top side and clear bot, but Inspired has the faster clear, so able to clear his bottom side, get in to compete, and now gets the Raptor respawn. So Shun basically is nothing to do now for the next few minutes because he's no camps on the map.
It's a real bad feeling as a jungler to just be stuck in that, well, I'm not really sure where we're supposed to go, but you do see the gray hourglass up in that top side there around the Gromp, so he is pathing towards where that first camp is going to respawn. Still very even game state here, no kills super early, but the biggest gold advantage is Inspired in the jungle, but actually a very similar gold advantage up there in the top side for Bin's Renekton, who has just controlled the lane against Dhokla.
Even opting in towards the early Bramble Vest is not what you really want for this Zaahen either. He wants to be picking up those brooders or items, but Dhokla massively struggling, and this is what we were talking about, right? Like the early presence from this Renekton is so strong as Saint.
Oh, Saint flashes forward, he wants to get the solo kill tonight. The poison will not be. It is! The first blood goes over to Saint thanks to the poison from Noxious Blast plus the Deathfire touch. Saint just solo killed Knight's Ahri.
Huge play from Saint in the mid lane. I thought this was going to be one of the most one-sided matchups that we had on the Rift today, but Saint with the Cassiopeia getting the kill onto the Ahri.
That was huge coming out from Saint, but now he has no flash to try to get away. He hangs around too long. Shun ends up taking the kill as On goes on a magical journey through the wall. Inspired, that is such a rough one because the paranoia cooldown is so long early. When you don't get anything out of that ultimate, you're really not happy with it.
Still, though, could actually look for a little bit more as the Dragon is here. I wasn't sure as Alls cancelled the reset if they wanted to try and invade on towards Shun, but with only the 2 of them, it will be the Dragon. Still, though, like, the funny thing is, Inspired uses the ultimate. I think he actually has the ultimate back up before Shun hits level 6 again.
Yeah, yeah, Shun a full level behind Inspired just because of the massive camp disparity. 4 or 5 camps Inspired has over the BLG jungler. So Dragon secured. This is by far the earliest Dragon of the series so far. Not even 6.5 minutes into the game, and that one is already locked in for LYON. As Isles and On both still hanging around this mid lane. Saint, no flash. Knight's flash also still on cooldown. Bin versus Dhokla. Bin's just going to pop the Dominus to continue to maintain dominance here in this top lane. 70-44 in the farm count. You already mentioned it, but Dhokla also having to spend that first big chunk of gold on an item he doesn't really want. And here's how Saint got the kill on Knight.
Yeah, Knight ends up stepping up, has the Q already connected, so there's a lot of damage and just not respecting it. Also, I didn't quite see where the charm went. So
he shot
Saint
it.
Just missed it, did he?
Saint sidestepped it to the left.
Sidestepped it,
yeah. Yeah, Knight fired it off. Saint managed to sidestep it, predicted it well, and then the follow-up is right there. Yeah. He chases him down,
And Knight had no flash to try and get away from it. So nicely done by Saint there. And unfortunate for Saint in the follow-up after, because he had unlocked the ultimate but didn't have enough mana to actually use that to keep the rest of BLG away. So it did end up dying, but you can still see he pushed in that wave, still has the lead for himself in that mid lane. And I think this now kind of opens up LYON a little bit more to try and fish for plays.
But it also was pretty critical from the BLG side that the counter kill onto Saint went to Xun, because Xun being so far behind in experience, being so far behind just in terms of his camps this game, he needed that kill to stay relevant. And you can see that even though he's down 20 farm right now, he's up a whopping 30 gold. But at least that's a state of parity with Inspired.
Yeah, I do want to highlight, though, just how much vision went onto that top side of the map there for BLG, because he got on, he just snuck his way in, and 1, 2, 3, 4 wards to spot out if Inspired so much as blinks in that top side jungle. So you can already tell BLG hyper-focused on trying to keep track of Inspired, but have they lost them?
Yep, Inspired's already down here on the bottom side of the map. Viper's trying to get away. Plenty of damage, but not quite enough just yet. Viper staying alive for now. You gotta be kidding me! BLG keep their AD carry alive. Inspired still on the hunt. Viper still on the run. As now they turn their attention over to On instead. Saint has made his way into the fight. Viper takes a kill, though, as he brings Inspired down with them. BLG playing this beautifully. They turn this multi-man dive from LYON on its head. They get kills on Isles and Inspired both. Viper survived so long.
LYON fumbled it so badly on the play. Viper's arcane shift got away from the hook from Isles and honestly kept him alive for so long in the fight. We'll catch it on the replay. Because as this comes through, Inspired starts by tanking up the tower as he goes underneath. I don't mind this, but watch the arcane shift here. Isles tries to go under, but misses. The arcane shift had started, so the hook goes into the wall. That's not the lockdown you need. Berserker ends up tanking the tower afterwards. He's not tanky enough to set this up, so they have to entirely back away. And Viper gets so much poke damage as he runs away here. Does end up falling in the end to Berserker, but they tried to turn on towards the support afterwards. Like, that was just messy stuff from LYON.
And they are punished. 1,500 gold lead now for BLG as On goes on a magical journey through the wall, looking to lock up Saint. A good use of the miasma there to slow him down. Saint gets away, not a whole lot of damage there. True shot barrage to add insult to injury to this top lane deficit that Dhokla is currently experiencing. At least he's finally building towards the items he actually wants now. But over on the other side, Bin has even gone for a cull. He recognizes this lane is no threat. There is nothing that's going to stop him from behaving however he wants in this lane. So he's just going to go ahead and accelerate his own economy with that one. Already got it down to 44 stacks. Berserker, his own call down to 24, and he's the lone gold lead on the LYON side, so cashing that in might be what... Okay, all right, now it's gone. Now it's gone, fair enough. But hey, the minions are walking up. Watch.
Yeah. Okay, 24.
It'll swing back. You don't get there, you just... 10. There we go.
There we go.
Hey, there we go. All right, cool. So he's the lone gold lead on the LYON side once that call cashes in. Berserker has had large individual leads in both games so far for himself, but they still haven't been able to deliver. And Berserker is going to have to put up strong individual performance if LYON wants to get one of these games across the finish line and prevent the clean sweep.
The thing is, though, LYON have phenomenal scaling when it comes to this composition, right? Like Saint, Berserker, Dhokla, all going to be amazing when they get towards, you know, that 3+ items. Their biggest problem is trying to keep things in check for the moment. And I think they have done an okay job, but like Bane is massive. And if Xun and Knight are actually able to sync up now, I think it becomes a little bit more dangerous. 10 seconds on Dragon as well, which is why we're seeing LYON active in this area. Yep. And Inspired looking at a potential move to bot lane, but Viper respecting it as they see multi-members of LYON in the area.
Importantly, On also still level 5. Needs just a little bit more experience, a couple more minions to hit that level 6 and unlock the Tempered Fate, as BLG are going to step forward here. LYON with Inspired and Berserker both on the objective. Knight and Xun making their rotation over as the TP is about to arrive. It's Bin. And as soon as they see the Croc, they've got to back away. LYON wants nothing to do with this guy.
Especially because Bin had that top lane quest completed, so had the TP shield coming in as well. But Dhokla, I think, going to be very happy for a moment of respite up here. Try and get some gold as well, because he has been struggling to get much up here.
Yeah, for Dhokla, you're happy enough with that. You're saying, look, guys, it's a Chemtech Drake. We don't really care that much about it. Dhokla gets a chance to breathe here for a moment, but that breath might be cut short Nope, Ben's not going to go in for anything crazy, just instead wants to tend the wave, clear that one out, and get back to business as usual up here in this top lane as Knight will see if he can just get this wave shoved up down here in bottom side. Saint trying to do the same over in mid as On is roaming around the top part of the map, once again looking towards Saint.
Dhokla though. They're going for the trade, doesn't quite get over the wall to follow him as Dokla's able to hop over, but yeah, you can definitely tell that this is now going to be the focus for BLG as they separate out into this 1-3-1. Bin is huge. Let's try and use that advantage with 2 plates already taken off that top lane to try and force a play towards him.
Yeah, we've got first items getting completed across, honestly, the whole scoreboard. Even the Locket of the Iron Solari completed 4 on the Bard for the extra shielding in the middle of these big fights. So Dhokla, however, still, unfortunately, just a phage and a longsword.
And it's also still with the vision control for On that top side. He's been doing a really good job of finding these moments to get vision for Bin, but
oh, there's your wombo combo. Shun and Knight going in after Saint. He tries to use the petrifying gaze, but Knight predicts it. He makes sure he doesn't get caught in the hard CC, and BLG get the 1-2 punch with a mid-jungle combo.
Yeah, Shun and Knight, excellent on this combo, and you're seeing there just why the Vi stuck around the bottom side. Saint wasn't expecting it, and it's the immediate jump, and you called it in the 5 flowers. Knight sidesteps, predicts the ultimate, had On waiting in the wings if anything went awry, and it's a smile for the BLG mid laner.
They're going to be happy about that one. Over a 2,000 gold lead now. Inspired shows up to make sure they can't do any more damage to the turret as On goes ahead and takes his retreat. We've got the Rift Herald here spawning in about a minute. But like you said, this whole time, On has been maintaining so much vision control over the topside jungle of LYON. He knows that Bin is always going to be pushing. He knows that top lane belongs to BLG, so you've got to protect this area. You've got to place deep wards because it's Nocturne, and now those are going to pay a secondary dividend in setting up for the Herald.
Because Bin is about to take a second plate now, just in that minute's time that we saw that play on bottom side, and now finding Dhokla with the coal pot.
Yep, Dhokla's in some danger. Already stunned up there with a Ruthless Predator. Has to use the Grim Deliverance defensively, trying to get himself away as Inspired goes in for the dive here, yet again looking for the move onto Viper. Plenty of damage coming out. It was Knight, excuse me, as the kill comes through. Saint making sure they land that one, and it's Saint's revenge down here in the bottom lane. Knight gets knocked over. Dhokla even using the teleport to come down here and join up for it, but that means the top lane tier 2 is completely undefended.
It's a good call from LYON though, because they knew that Knight didn't have that ultimate available. It was only the flash, Inspired able to follow, so they get some sort of trade back, because I think that play was dead in the top lane anyway. With Shun there, Bennett just popped Cole, he got 3 plates, first tower gold, and that gold lead just ballooned from an 800 gold lead 30 seconds ago to a 1.8k lead for a Bin. He is massive on the map, so LYON needed to find something elsewhere.
Yep, Shun already starting up this Herald. He's got Bin walking towards him back from the base. Any fight that Bin is involved in, LYON either has to have just a supremely superior angle or they cannot do anything about it whatsoever. It's a 2,000 gold lead across the team. It's a 1.7k lead for Bin. It's just, he is the difference in this game right now.
Yeah, the difference is LYON, both mid and bot lane, actually having a little bit of a lead for themselves. Again, does bode well for them. They are the late game insurance here, but unfortunately for LYON, the late game is looking awfully far away because you're just getting so much pressure on the map. With Viper happy to sit on mid wave, On moving around, Shun finding ways to solidify a lead. Like, he can play so well around Bin and Knight in these side lanes, and that's what we're talking about. Inspired kind of needing to be there to cover the side lanes for when that play happens, but they've just been so desynced in the jungle clears, it's been difficult to do.
4-3, kills are close, but gold is not. 30 seconds till the next Drake spawns. It's 1-1 on those counts. Again, a more accelerated Drake game than what we've seen in the previous 2 in this series. And it's BLG moving in, Shun and On, the playmaking duo, setting things up so that BLG will have their opportunity for the trigger pull when they see it.
But you can see what Inspired has to try and do right now, right? He's just sitting down on this bottom lane, trying to make sure they can cover in behind his top laner. So then if a play happens, they can actually be there. But it means that, you know, he can't get to his top side. You're getting Bin isolated again in this 1v1 where he's actually just stealing away Krugs there as well. So it is just making it difficult for the follow-up. Actually, maybe he didn't. Maybe the Krugs hadn't spawned, but still, like, you can see just how difficult it is for LYON to cover the map.
Inspired going in after Bin, though, trying to make the play on the BLG top laner who pops the dominance nice and early. They want to try to get Saint's petrifying gaze, but Bin had already turned around in time. He's chasing after Inspired. Who's hunting whom here in this play? As Ben has to continue his retreat. Now the Berserker has showed up, and Inspired working together with his team, setting the kill up for Berserker. Down in the bottom lane, Dhokla's gonna die here too. It's a requiem for top laners. 17 minutes into the game as they both fall to multi-man plays from the other team. Saint gonna push the tier 1 turret top. Meanwhile, Knight is gonna take the tier 1 turret bot.
Still been worth a little more in that trade, but unfortunately for LYON, they're not gonna be able to get the tower off the back of it, so would have loved a little bit more, but it is BLG who are extending that gold lead. The TP as Oz is moving bot lane. And honestly, kind of a bit of a bluff. There was no backup behind him. Saint could have technically TP'd in, but still, you get the teleport out from Knight.
Yeah, Knight losing that summoner spell, at least feel good for him there. BLG also securing the Drake during that top laner and turret exchange, as now Inspired finds himself in a whole world of hurt. Viper's ready to join on and Shun, and that's an easy pick on the LYON jungler. It's going to reward them with the enemy red buff as well.
BLG starting to pick up the pace again, just moving around Shun, finding plays, and we're kind of just getting this like counter punch constantly, right? With LYON trying to play on the opposite side of the map to BLG, but BLG are just picking up that little more every time. This time it's Inspired, they get the wave push top, Dhokla trying to reconnect with the lane.
Yeah, but he's caught in the tempered fate. Not a whole lot of damage to follow this up with though. Knight is nearby, but he's not close just yet. You saw in your Coinbase gold grind the nearly 2,000 gold lead for Ben over Dhokla at this point. So really just the story of this game thus far as Isles shows up to try to help Big Dokes hold on to the tier 2 turret up here in the top lane. 19 minutes on the clock means just about one more minute to go until Baron will be around. Again, BLG, we remember back to the first game, they got the first Baron and it didn't lead to a whole lot. So LYON kind of just still trying to get gold wherever they can find it, trying to make sure that they don't allow BLG to balloon this lead, run away any further, so they continue working towards that scaling that you were talking about, that if we get to a point of the game where it's still only a 3,000 gold difference at 40 minutes in, and you've got the LYON team composition, you're going to be feeling pretty good.
And that's why we're seeing BLG trying to kick it up a notch, right? Looking for the invades. They now have that Rift Herald, which I imagine they're going to try and throw down in mid soon once you get that push on bot lane for Bin, and then take mid tower, start to get the deep ward, start to limit access to the map for LYON. Because at the moment, I think, like LYON, happy enough if you can get towards, 3 items for Berserker, which isn't that far away in this position.
No.
So I think this is where kind of having Shun and Knight collapse onto mid lane shows you they really want to put that threat down.
All right, Baron's about to spawn. Dragon still 2 minutes away. Rift Herald summoned up in mid lane by BLG. LYON just trying to dogpile and kill it off before it charges, and they get it done. Nicely done from LYON.
Yeah, and good call from LYON, because we just said, look, you need to see BLG push out that bot lane with Bin before they try and make this play, so you draw members of LYON away, but BLG nearly trying to skip steps, and LYON collapse, stop the dive, and may catch a little more here.
Shortcuts can end up costing you sometimes, and LYON end up making BLG pay for a Herald that looked like it should have been a sure thing, but just couldn't quite complete the charge. Now that Bin's got the bottom wave shoved up, Dhokla's down there ready to try to answer that one as Saint takes his recall, is not interrupted on that one with the True Shot Barrage. Saint at a very big power spike now for himself. 10 stacks on the Rod of Ages, fully evolved Seraph's Embrace, level 15 here on this Cassiopeia. Knight still only level 13 on the Ahri. So thanks to the Rod of Ages boost, more than a full level ahead for Saint.
And that's what I mean, like I think once you start to get these third items completed, I think you're in a good spot, like especially for Berserker. The Mortal Reminder going to be doing a lot of work against people like Bin in these engagements, so I think it's a good shout. And as long as you can play this front to back, not give Shun and Knight access to say Berserker or Saint in these fights, I think you've got a good chance. Even if you want to like give up this next dragon, like we've seen it before, where sure they get to sole point, but I think LYON from their next position should be in a good spot. Although Berserker has just completed 3 items, so maybe they're feeling spicy.
Yeah, 3 items for Berserker. You've also got the Experimental Hexplate plus Stride Breaker combo for Nocturne that is just that core build that always feels so strong in this champion. Dhokla still working towards his second fully completed item, but that's just going to be the story of the Zaahen. It's going to take time to catch up. You will be behind the Renekton. Speaking of which, Bin with his Spear of Shojin creates a massive team fight problem if he is there, so LYON will have to make sure they are respecting him. If BLG wants to fight for this Drake, 10 seconds on the clock until it spawns. You can see LYON down in the area first. They do have Saint getting the wave shoved up. He'll slither his way up into the river now as Knight is just taking the chance to work on the tier 2 up here in the top side. Not really afraid of Dhokla. Does land the charm. A little bit of extra damage follow-up, but Dhokla with the Tiamat can at least clear the waves out swiftly enough.
So it's actually BLG who are giving up this dragon, looking for more gold instead. See Shun in this topside jungle, so not really going to be looking for any sort of steal. Maybe look for a play in the mid tower, as it is just Isles who's sticking around, but with the wave gone, maybe just the tier 2 is all the BLG get here.
Yep. Knight with those 3 Void Grubs should be able to take this one down. One more auto attack, and then it bleeds away. Yes, sir. 4,000 gold lead now for BLG. LYON ties it up, 2 Drakes to 2. Lots of defensive wards. Look at the LYON vision. There's not really anything even in the river. The entire map is owned by BLG up until you start to get towards those buffs of LYON. That's where their defensive vision is, trying to make sure they don't allow BLG to get those picks.
But the thing is, right, like BLG, I think, may be a mistake giving up that dragon. Like, you're the one who wants to try and force fights right now, because I think you had, like, Spear Shojin just about to be completed for Viper. You also had, as you say, like, some of those big item spikes for Shun and Bin. But it means now you're giving 10 minutes to LYON before they really have to fight for something. And unless you can hard force Barons and some pick plays around there, I think LYON pretty happy to play the pace of this game. So even if you do lose a Baron, I mean, you maybe lose, like, the mid tower and one of the tier 2s. So LYON, I think you just play this slow and don't give too much, but that may not be the call here as they move to the top lane.
Oh, Shun's gonna face check the brush, and as soon as he does, he's got the entire squad waiting for him. Shut down over to Saint. Money in the Cassiopeia's pocket. Level 16 acquired. Enemy jungler dead. LYON starting up the Baron themselves.
You still have Bin trying to TP in. Wants to hit that level 16 off the wave, but just hit it there as he TPs in.
Yep, he's got it. True Shot Barrage flies through. Inspired down to 20% HP, but the Baron is down to half. Viper getting away from the miasma for now. Knight with a lot of damage onto Isles. Inspired still very low. Isles trying to get the flash block up. Has Bin versus Dhokla on the other side of the map. Also rages on keeping himself alive here with a Tempered Fate, but now he's going to be in trouble. Isles right on top of him. Flash over the wall coming out from on as Dhokla barely gets away on the other side of the map here at the same time. LYON in retreat. BLG stopping him here at the objective as Bin forces Dhokla away as well.
The 3v5, and it's BLG who actually managed to get away with it. No one goes down. Flash is blown across the board, but they stop the Baron. And Bin never got a chance to actually TP in because Dhokla tried to chase him down, which then forced both the flashes from the top laners. So it's a pick, and that's it.
Wow. Okay. Well, BLG doing a good job responding under pressure yet again. LYON finding that pick onto Shun, just having that death brush camped up here in the top side tri-bush. It was scary, but hey, BLG, now they've got everybody back on the map. Still 3,000 gold lead. Oh, Dhokla, this might not be a very nice place to be. Shun and Bin over the wall, going right in after Big Dokes. He does not have the flash. He does not have his determination meter filled. He does not have a chance. 0-2 and 0 now on the Zaahen, dead for the next 45 seconds.
Yeah, Dhokla unfortunately getting caught there. Should let BLG push out this bot wave and maybe look for the tier 2 in the bottom lane. And suddenly this lone tower, this tier 1 in the mid lane may be looking significantly less defensible. As Shun's starting to move forward, he got inspired, making sure to cover for any sort of play. But you still have to try and cover something on this bottom lane, or Bin will just get that tower.
Viper level 15 on the Ezreal, getting close to taking over to level 16 himself. As Inspired jumps in after Bin. He's got help on the way, but Bin's trying to turn this one around real quick. Slice and dice back over the wall as Berserker now going to get ulted by Shun, but a nice spell shield from Berserker. Make sure that it's not going to save Bin's life. Shun has to flash over the wall to complete the Vault Breaker so he doesn't get body blocked. LYON doing a good job there. It got a little scary. It did cost the flash from Inspired to stay alive, but they get the pick on Bin.
Viper trying to stick around though. There's the Ultimus.
Yeah, depth charge coming in. Miasma right on top of the Ezreal. Tempered Fate's not going to do it because Isles ends up pulling Viper right on back as Viper's down to 10% HP. On trying to get away now himself. Saint trapped in the wall there with the Cosmic Binding, and Shun shows up in the flank. Saint staying alive here thanks to the stasis. Mystic Shot isn't going to collide with him. Stays at enough health to take another shot or two. Very, very scrappy engagement here in the mid lane, leads to no deaths.
LYON really wanted a bit more off the back of that, but couldn't quite find it. So mid lane tower goes down. They get the pick on bottom lane for LYON. BLG, a 4,000 gold lead now for themselves, with Rabadon's death cap now completed. That Spear Shojin finally done for Viper as well. With 30 seconds on Dragon, LYON trying to take space back on the map. Zhonya's coming through for Saint as he just burnt that Seeker's arm guard.
Exactly. You love to see that type of timing. You get value out of your Seekers. Immediately, you've got the next one ready to go. BLG going to go ahead and start up the Baron now with just Viper and Shun. Meanwhile, Inspired making the play over here in the mid lane. Flash over the wall comes out from Knight, keeping himself safe and alive for now, but On can't say the same. Tempered Fate was not back off a cooldown. LYON with a full send, the 5-man dive here in the mid lane to take out the enemy support, take out the enemy tier 1 turret. Meanwhile, BLG, they secure the Baron with the Viper and Shun 2-man play. True Shot Barrage gonna get fired towards the Dragon Pit, but Inspired and Saint are already on the objective. It's going to be LYON first to Soul Point as Bin takes the tier 2 turret in the bottom lane. Viper applies pressure to the tier 3 turret up here in the top side, getting value out of the Baron immediately.
But basically saying, yeah, we don't care about this dragon. So 2 dragons in a row, they disappear. But it's Dhokla who has to use that Grim Deliverance to get over the wall. The TP now in behind from LYON.
Yup, Inspired face checking the brush here with a spell shield. Inspired taking out immediately, but Shun's gonna die right beside him. Depth charge onto Knight, Twin Fangs landing, and that's both of them sinking into Knight's throat. Saint finds another kill. Meanwhile, Viper's still in the enemy base. Gonna go ahead and take his empowered recall, get out of town, because LYON are finding these picks, but it is still BLG who managed to stay ahead in gold. It's not like this whole sequence of plays ended up slingshotting LYON back closer to parity because BLG got so much money from the Baron, from the turret push up there in the top lane. They took the inhibitor as well. Now Berserker has to try to deal with Bin, but the Ruthless Predator finds the stun. Berserker still running, has to flash to escape the croc.
And now with that turret down in the top side and the inhibitor down, you've got that point of pressure with the super creeps into the top lane. Saint will spot out that On is there, but that now opens up BLG to just use their champions in 2 lanes versus 3 and create more points of pressure. So for LYON, it's 2 picks. The gold lead stays similar, but I don't think their position is any stronger.
Guardian Angel completed on Shun. That's going to be a big tool in an upcoming team fight. Knight's Vow done for On. Powerful support itemization there. Meanwhile, we already mentioned that Hourglass that you were talking about for Saint. Infinity Edge,
that's
Flicker
the one
Blades,
for Berserker.
Mortal Reminder. We've got 100% crit chance Infinity Edge Sivir on the LYON side.
Sivir just needs uptime. If she can find it, that's where she'll be able to take over a fight. But BLG haven't been giving her that time. They've been playing through multiple lanes. They've been playing for the maps. They're playing to take down these towers. And again, I think that's what we're going to see BLG do now. LYON trying to clear out this wave in mid, use the last dregs of this Red Bull Baron power play as Shun sitting in behind them, but there's double super creeps in that top wave, so LYON have to respond as the wave crashes in mid lane.
All right, how are they going to do these lane assignments? How do they handle it? Red Bull Baron power play still active for another 30 seconds. As LYON moves to defend, Ben pushing the bottom side. Wants to try to crash that wave into the tier 3 turret. Viper still firing with these Mystic shots, just trying to get any sort of harass that he can. Nice double binding. Saint forced into stasis, immediately On over the wall, creating pressure. Tempered Fate going to be sidestepped by everybody on the LYON team. They stay alive for now, but it was a big chunk out of Saint's health bar that's causing LYON to have to retreat. The Baron Enchanted Cannon minion doing plenty of damage to the tier 2 turret here in the mid lane. They will lose the tier 2. BLG's gold lead up to just about 5,000 here as the Baron expires.
The Baron, as you say, is now gone, so this siege not going to be quite as strong anymore. So BLG will go back, spend their money, and see what else they can now find. But 2 minutes now until that dragon. I don't think there's much more that BLG can really get unless they find a pick. But this is where LYON, like, this is your silver line. You held on to most of your base. BLG haven't cracked the game open, and you have a potential Ocean Soul available. Your main carries are fully online. Saint and Berserker hit like a truck. Like you saw how much damage Saint did tonight when that depth charge landed. So if you can get those fights in your favor, this could be you pushing us to game number 4.
But I feel like for a lot of NA fans watching right now, the flashbacks to game 1 are palpable. Berserker set up to potentially carry in a big team fight, but the lines collapse. He doesn't deal the damage. They end up losing, and it loses them the entire game. This time around, he has a chance at redemption. He's got that 100% crit. He's got that Infinity Edge. He's got the armor penetration. if Berserker's positioning, like you said earlier, leads him to be able to free fire, he can cut through BLG, but he's got Bin and Knight and Shun to deal with.
But it's been Berserker, you guys have been telling me, is the man that LYON have been able to rely on in these fights, the man who stepped up for them time and again as these series trudged on for them in playoffs, and now on an international stage has to show that he can do it once more, going up against his Korean AD carry himself in the bottom lane, with Viper having the home crown of Daejeon behind him, for he grew up in this city. Now it's time for Berserker to try and push LYON forward once more.
30 seconds on the clock until what'll be the Ocean Soul for LYON spawns. If they don't want to try to fight for it, BLG can get it, and then it'll just be 3-3. We'll have to get a soul after that. But I'm curious what LYON is going to do here, because yes, you feel like you've scaled. You've got these powerful endgame champions, and we're at the endgame state. Back at 20 minutes, I said if you get to 40 minutes into the game and you're 3,000 gold apart, you're going to feel pretty comfortable. It's getting closer and closer, my friend, but it is control over the map still in BLG's hands as the Drake is about to spawn.
So they've sent Saint to the top lane. They want to try and get that tower, get him his Void Staff, and then call it a day. It looks like the reset coming through. That dragon is gone though. Creeps, I assume? Yeah, we'll kill the tower. So it looks like that's the call, Flowers. Like, look, we don't need to take this right now. If we lost this, maybe that's a potential Baron immediately afterwards. So get these items completed. There's 5 items for Saint. So and if he can get that death stance for Dhokla as well, level 18. Yeah. Like, you are having these moments here.
Dhokla, with the Death Stance, I feel like the Zaahen will be relevant in the team fight, right? From a game that Dhokla has not been able to find any footing in thus far. Over on the other side, though, Knight with the Death Cap fully completed on his Ahri. This is very scary as well. Viper also with 4 fully completed items working on his next, trying to head towards that Guardian Angel. This is a... It's another one of those games, Dagda. I feel like it's just going to come down to one big fight, because although it's not dead even like game number 1, the scaling that we've been talking about for LYON makes it feel like it could go either way.
I mean, if you get a big team fight win for LYON, you can definitely end the game. Like, you've so much damage on towards these turrets, you can rip through the structures. But LYON are playing this very patiently. Like, you can see they spotted on, but wait a second.
They're going in after Shun. Inspired pulls the trigger on the paranoia as Bin then has to flash away from a potential follow-up dredge line from Isles. LYON see the chance to maybe make the pick. Instead, they're just going to get the flash from Bin's Renekton. That's a big summoner spell, though. That removes so much of Renekton's threat in an upcoming team fight.
But 2 big ultimates for LYON were used on the hunt and that paranoia. So LYON not feeling as confident to just step up into this one. BLG using Knight with that mobility to face check the Baron and make sure LYON haven't turned over towards it. But you can still see, like, both teams know that this game is standing on a knife's edge. One false move could make everything crumble down around you. And I was about to say, LYON have been playing it patient. They spotted on in River. They don't go for the immediate all-in because they know that BLG probably have numerous members there. LYON are taking it slow. They spotted Bin on bot lane. Now they're taking position.
Critically, Guardian Angel now purchased for Viper. So that's double GAs on the BLG side. Shun and Viper both with that ability to resurrect. Triple GA, excuse me, as Bin has also purchased his. Guardian Angel now also available for Berserker. It's 4 GAs on the map. It's LYON starting up the Baron. Dhokla and Inspired both down to about half HP. Dhokla goes over the wall, trying to interfere with Shun, who goes in, tries to get something back, wants to be able to find some sort of a steal. The Baron down to 2,500. Bin's now into the pit too, as Dhokla's going to be forced into the resurrection. Inspired secures the Baron, but BLG is still fighting. Shun goes back over the wall. LYON has surrounded Bin. They knock him into the resurrection, and Knight is killed off first. The GAs are popping all over the place as Bin comes back to life, and now Inspired's going to be in some danger. He's cut down with a slice and dice, but it costs Bin's life. Inspired has lost his own life alongside Dhokla, but they've killed 3 on BLG. It's only Viper and Shun still alive. Shun losing his own Guardian Angel in that fight. God bless it, Dagda. I have no idea whose Guardian Angel was popping when, where, and why, but there were so many GAs there in the fight.
All you need to know is that if Shun doesn't have one, and that's the TP, they want to try and find Shun in his own jungle.
Saint trying to cut him off here. The Twin Fangs do so much damage. Shun wants to try to sidestep it. The Vault Breaker over the wall, but Saint's ready here with a flash. A little bit more damage does it. Saint goes on the rampage.
Saint finds the pick, but unfortunately for LYON, these waves are in the worst possible position. But with the Baron, they may be able to change it, as immediately Dhokla goes over the wall to interrupt any sort of Shun entrance. Shun has to flash in, but they turn and burn onto the Vi. As soon as she's in the GA, there is no smite available. But the position here for BLG is so difficult. Viper doing what he can over the wall to get the damage that he can. Knight has to retreat because you got that immediate ult from Isles to keep him out of the fight. With the Baron going over and these resurrections desynced, it's LYON who can then turn on towards Bin. Shun gets over the wall. Knight tries to go in to help out his counterpart in the solo lane, but there's just not enough in the tank, and this was the damage we talked about. This was the late game that was promised, and it's LYON who go 3 for 2 with Baron in the fight.
And Berserker is all smiles, so let's go ahead and take stock. No Guardian Angel on Bin, no Guardian Angel on Shun. Guardian Angel still up on both AD carries, no Guardian Angel on Inspired. Okay, Death Dance completed now for Dhokla as well. Berserker 12-4 on Sivir in his career. 10.1 KDA, knows how to pilot this champion, and now has Mercurial Scimitar alongside that GA. He is true Season 16 80 carry, full build, 7 items.
Yeah, man wants to go 12-0-4 on the scoreboard instead for this one as he steps up with the rest of his team. Dhokla needs to TP in as LYON do control and dictate where BLG can enter in towards this river. Dragon 10 seconds away. LYON in a great spot for the front to back. Viper trying to TP to bot lane just to reposition behind his team.
It's an Ocean Soul fight. It's 3-3 on the Drakes. This one must be the soul for one of the two squads here. LYON with aggro on the Drake right now, but they're not trying to do a lot of DPS here just yet. True Shot Barrage flies through. Paranoia already going to be popped here as Dhokla's in the middle of the pit, trying to find an angle here. Shun's going to be your first target. He tries to get away through the wall here with a Vault Breaker. Tempered Fate down onto the Drake, trying to buy a little bit more time as Dhokla's about to die, and Knight finds the kill. LYON still looking to fight for the objective. They take the soul, but BLG's still looking to take the fight. Inspired has already fallen. Bin getting himself away just barely. And yet again, it is BLG finding the fight, the ace for nothing. Bilibili Gaming will take this push.
BLG's team fight is insane. 5 for nothing when it all seemed in favor of LYON, and they will just rush through the base.
When it comes down to it, when all the chips are on the table, when it all comes down to one final fight, it's BLG again and again, and now for a third time again, proving their superiority. They will clean sweep LYON 3-0.
In what an absurd fashion. It looked like LYON had turned the corner. They'd found the Baron. They'd found the fight. But somehow, Shun sneaks away. And it's BLG who find the key members in the fight.
What a fight from LYON, but what a show of team fighting from BLG. Analyst Desk, take it away.
Oh man, it's just a story of small details here. Game after game after game for LYON. It's BLG taking the 3-0. Expectedly so, I want to say. But what a fight. What a statement from LYON, especially after the first series they played earlier this week. I love their resilience here.
I know no one is going to go back and look at this series. They're just going to see the scoreline and be like, oh, this was a 3-0.
Yeah.
Especially in this game. After they got that late Baron, I was like, okay, it's Berserker time. Like, he knows this Sivir. We've got this.